I want you to take a deep breath and put the phone down for a moment. I see you. I see the way you've been living in the shadows of a digital screen, waiting for a vibration that never comes. You've been staring at that blank chat window, hoping for a sign of life, a spark of the person you once knew. But the silence isn't an accident. It is a very loud, deliberate choice being made. It's a haunting kind of quiet, isn't it? It's the kind that makes you question your own value, your own sanity. You go back and read old messages, trying to find the exact moment the music stopped. You wonder if you said the wrong thing or if they're just busy. But deep down, in that place you're afraid to look, you already know the truth. This silence isn't a break, it is a weapon. We have to talk about what it actually means when a narcissist disappears into the void. It's the question that keeps you up at 3 a.m., the one that makes your stomach drop every time you see a notification that isn't from them. You think you're being ignored because you aren't enough, but I'm here to tell you something different. I'm here to expose the secret mechanics of their absence. There is a specific psychological cruelty in the long-term silence. It's designed to make you feel like a ghost in your own life. It turns you into a detective, a beggar, and a child all at once. You are waiting for permission to feel okay again, and they are holding that permission just out of your reach. It's a game of power where the only way they win is if you keep looking for them. Most people will tell you to just move on, but I know it's not that simple. Your brain is literally wired to crave the resolution they are refusing to give you. You are in a state of open-ended grief, mourning someone who is still walking around, breathing, and choosing not to speak to you. It feels like a death without a funeral. But today, we are going to finally bury the illusion. I want you to understand that this isn't a reflection of your worth. It never was. The narcissist uses silence like a sculptor uses a chisel to reshape you into something more compliant, more desperate, and more easy to control. If they aren't calling, it's not because you're forgettable. It's because they are currently testing the limits of your loyalty while you're starving for them. Have you noticed how the silence feels heavier than any argument you ever had? Words can be fought, but silence is a wall you can't climb. It leaves you shouting into a vacuum, and the echo is the only thing that answers you. They know this. They know exactly how much it hurts to be treated like you don't exist. It's the ultimate declassification of your humanity. It's chilling. Think about the energy you've spent protecting their image in your head. You make excuses for their ghosting. You tell yourself they're depressed, or stressed, or overwhelmed. You are working overtime to give them the benefit of the doubt they never gave you. But what if the reason they aren't texting is much simpler and much darker? What if the silence is the most honest they've been? This isn't just about a phone call. It's about the soul-deep realization that you are being handled like an object on a shelf. When they need you, they pick you up. When they're done, they put you down. And they don't think twice about the dust that gathers on you while you wait. We're going to peel back the layers of this behavior until there's nowhere left for their lies to hide. You've been waiting for them to break the silence, but today, you're going to be the one to break the cycle. We are moving beyond the why and into the what now. Because when a narcissist doesn't call or text for a long time, it means something very specific about their internal world and your future. Take my hand. We're going into the deep end, and you're coming out stronger. To the narcissist, communication is not about connection, it's about regulation. They don't call to hear your voice, they call to check the status of their supply. When the calls stop, it usually means one of three things. They've found a new mirror to look into, they're punishing you for a perceived slight, or they're simply bored. It's a cold, mechanical reality hidden under a human face. Imagine a child with a toy. In the beginning, that toy is everything. It's shiny, it's new, and the child takes it everywhere. But eventually, the novelty wears off. The toy gets tossed into the corner of the room. It's not that the toy changed or lost its value. The child simply found something else to play with. You're that toy. And right now, you're in the corner, waiting for play. When they go silent for weeks or months, they are engaging in intermittent reinforcement. By making their attention unpredictable, they turn your love into an addiction. You're like a gambler at a slot machine. You keep pulling the lever, hoping for that one hit of affection that will make the last 100 losses worth it. The silence is the loss that keeps you pulling the lever. Let's be blunt. If they aren't texting you, they are texting someone else. Or they are basking in the knowledge that you are pining for them. Narcissists have a strange object permanence issue. When you aren't in their direct line of sight, you don't exist as a person with feelings. You only exist as a concept. And they only interact with that concept when it serves their ego's needs. The long-term silence is often a discard, in slow motion. They don't want to officially end things because that would mean losing a backup option. So they just fade out. They leave the door cracked just enough so that if their new situation fails, they can slide back into your life like they never left. They're keeping you on life support while they're out living a whole other life. It's a psychological holding pattern. They are waiting for you to reach out first so they can prove to themselves that they still own you. Every time you send that, "Are you okay?" text, you are giving them a hit of dopamine. You are confirming that you are still waiting in the corner. You are telling them that their absence hasn't cost them anything. It's a win for their fragile ego. Deep down, the narcissist is terrified of being forgotten. Ironically, they use silence to ensure they are the only thing you think about. It's a paradox of control. By being absent, they become more present in your mind than if they were actually there. They are taking up all your mental real estate without paying a single cent in emotional rent. It's a brilliant, predatory strategy. If it's been months, it means they have successfully externalized their shame onto you. They made you the problem so they could feel like the solution. By not calling, they are avoiding the messiness of your human emotions. They want a version of you that is always happy, always available, and never demanding. Since you have needs, they've simply deleted the app until they need it again. This is the secret knowledge they don't want you to have. Their silence is a confession of their emptiness. A person who is whole and healthy doesn't need to starve another person of affection to feel powerful. Only someone who is fundamentally broken inside needs to see you break to feel whole. The silence isn't about your lack of value, it's about their absolute lack of character. So, when the phone stays dark, realize it's not because you're not worth the call. It's because the person on the other end is incapable of the connection you're offering. You are offering a feast to someone who only eats shadows. You have to stop trying to feed a ghost. You have to understand that the silence isn't a mystery to be solved. It's a final answer. Now let's talk about the shift. There is a moment when the waiting changes. It's subtle at first. You wake up and, for 30 seconds, you don't check your phone. You drink your coffee and you realize you haven't wondered what they're doing for a full minute. This is the beginning of the power shift. The narcissist's silence was meant to be your prison, but it is slowly becoming the room where you find yourself again. Suddenly, you stop being the detective. You stop checking their last seen status. You stop asking mutual friends how they are. The silence that once felt like a vacuum starts to feel like peace. You realize that the absence of their voice is also the absence of their criticism, their gaslighting, and their drama. The house is quiet, but for the first time in years, the air is clean. This is the plot twist they never saw coming. They expected you to break, but instead, you're beginning to heal. They were counting on your desperation to fuel their ego, but you've stopped the supply. When you stop the chase, the narcissist starts to lose their gravity. They are the sun that no one is orbiting anymore. And that is when the panic starts to set in, not for you, but for them. It's a cinematic shift. You start moving through the world with a different energy. You dress for yourself. You laugh with your friends. You exist in a way that has nothing to do with their approval. You've taken the remote control back. You're no longer waiting for them to change the channel on your emotions. You've turned the TV off entirely. And then the world starts to look real. Watch what happens next. When the narcissist senses that you've finally stopped waiting, they will often reappear. It's like they have a psychic radar for your indifference. They'll send a K at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. Not because they miss you, but because they miss the version of you that was addicted to them. They've come back to check if the toy is still in the corner. But this time, the scene is different. You look at the phone and you don't feel that rush of adrenaline. You feel nothing. Or maybe a slight irritation, like a fly buzzing near your ear. You see the manipulation for what it is. The long-term silence was their attempt to starve you, but you've learned how to feed yourself. Their return feels small and hollow. It's a masterpiece. The power has moved. It's no longer about whether they call you, it's about whether you even want to pick up. You realize that the destiny you shared was just a script they wrote to keep you in character. But you've walked off the set. You've burned the script. You are the director now, and you've decided this character doesn't get a speaking role in your next chapter. It's a slow burn realization that you were never the victim of their silence. You were the victim of your own hope. And once that hope is redirected toward your own life, you are untouchable. The narcissist's greatest fear isn't your anger, it's your apathy. When you truly don't care if they ever call again, you have officially escaped the maze. You are standing in the sun. Can you feel the weight lifting? It's the sound of your own voice returning to you. You are speaking your truth, even if it's just to yourself in the mirror. You are acknowledging that you deserved a partner who didn't use communication as a negotiation tactic. You deserved a love that was present, not one that was a limited time offer. The clarity is breathtaking, isn't it? This is the turning point where you stop asking, "Why aren't they calling?" and start asking, "Why would I ever want them to?" The silence was the mirror you needed to see your own strength. It was the space where your self-respect finally had room to grow. You aren't being ignored anymore. You are being protected by the very silence that was meant to destroy you. Breathe it in. Let's talk about the collapse, the dark, unflinching truth of what this silence cost you. You lost months, maybe years, to a ghost. You missed out on real connections because your heart was locked in a drawer. You were living in a state of suspended animation, waiting for a person who was already moving on. The consequence of the chase is a life that is half-lived. That is the tragedy. We have to be honest about the human detail. Remember the nights you spent crying in the bathroom so nobody would hear you? Remember the way you checked their social media until your eyes burned? That wasn't love. That was a nervous system collapse. That was your body trying to tell you that you were in danger. The narcissist didn't care about your pain, they relied on it. The long-term silence is a form of emotional abandonment that leaves scars on your brain. It triggers the same pathways as physical pain. When they don't call, they are essentially telling you that your peace of mind is a price they are willing to pay for their comfort. They are saying that your tears are an acceptable trade for their ego. It is a level of coldness that is hard to grasp. You have to face the fact that they never valued the real you. They only valued what you did for them. The person you loved was a mirage, a beautiful projection designed to get you hooked. The silence is the reality. The indifference is the truth. The narcissist didn't lose you. They threw you away because they thought they could always go back and pick you up. It's dehumanizing. This is the consequence of staying in the game. You become a shell of yourself. You start to believe that you are hard to love. You start to believe that silence is the best you can hope for. You begin to accept crumbs as a 5-course meal. The longer you wait for that text, the more you are teaching your soul to settle for less than it deserves. It is a slow, quiet erosion of the self. And what about them? The consequence for the narcissist is a life of eternal emptiness. They move from person to person, leaving a trail of broken hearts, but they never find peace. They are forever running from their own shadow. The silence they gave you was a reflection of the silence inside them. They are a hollow vessel, and no amount of supply will ever fill the hole in their soul. You might feel like you're the one who failed. That if you were prettier, or smarter, or better, they would have called. So, that is the narcissist's voice in your head. The truth is, there was nothing you could have done to change the outcome. A person who uses silence to control you would have used anything to control you. The problem was never your value. It was their pathology. The collapse is painful, but it is necessary. Like a forest fire that clears out the dead so new life can grow, this pain is clearing out the lies. You are seeing the relationship for what it really was, a transaction. You were the investor and they were the thief. The investment is gone, but the investor is still here. And you still have enough capital to build something real. Don't let the why drag you back into the dark. If a narcissist doesn't call or text for a long time, it means they are showing you exactly where you rank in their world. Nowhere. It's a bitter pill, but it's the medicine that will save your life. Once you accept that they aren't coming to save you, you realize that you are the only one who can. The rescue mission starts with you. The final consequence of the silence is the death of the maybe. No more maybe they'll change. No more maybe they're just busy. The maybe was the cage. The no is the key. When you finally accept the no, you are free to walk out of the prison. The air is cold, but it's real. And for the first time in a long time, you are walking toward a future that doesn't include their ghost. We are entering the final chapter now, and I want you to feel the shift in the air. The darkness is behind us. You've faced the monster, you've looked into the void, and you're still standing. This is where the healing becomes a masterpiece. Transitioning from the silence of abandonment to the silence of empowerment is the most profound journey a human soul can take. You're doing it. Empowerment isn't a loud, aggressive thing. It's a quiet, grounded certainty. It's the feeling of your feet on the floor. It's the way you look at a phone that isn't ringing and feel absolutely nothing but peace. You have earned this peace. You have paid for it with your tears, your time, and your struggle. It belongs to nobody but you. And nobody can take it away from you ever again. I want to speak directly to your pain. I know it hurts. I know there are moments when the loneliness feels like it might swallow you whole. But that pain is just your heart remembering how to beat for itself. It's the muscle growing back. You aren't broken. You are in a state of remodeling. You are tearing down the small, cramped rooms of the past to build a cathedral for your future. The narcissist thought their silence was a death sentence for you. They were wrong. It was a birth. It was the birth of the person who knows their worth. It was the birth of the person who won't accept intermittent love. It was the birth of the person who is too busy living a beautiful, authentic life to care about a text message from a person who never really knew them at all. You are reclaiming your narrative. You are no longer the person who was ignored. You are the person who chose to move on. You are the person who saw the red flags and finally decided to stop using them as decoration. You are the hero of this story, not the side character in theirs. The silence was the intermission, and now, the second act is beginning. And you are the star. Think about all the love you gave to that person. All that patience, all that empathy, all that loyalty. Now, imagine taking all of that and giving it back to yourself. Imagine being as patient with your own healing as you were with their lies. Imagine being as loyal to your own dreams as you were to their drama. That is where the magic happens. That is where you become unstoppable. You are going to find real connection. Not the explosive kind that burns you out, but the steady, warm kind that helps you grow. You will find people who text back because they want to. You will find a love that is a conversation, not a hostage negotiation. The silence you endured was the price of admission to a better life. And let me tell you, the show is going to be incredible. As we close this cinematic journey, I want you to look around. The world is still turning. The sun is still rising. And you are still here, more conscious and more alive than you have ever been. The narcissist's silence was a gift they didn't mean to give, the gift of your own freedom. They meant to shut you out, but they accidentally shut you into a room with your own greatness. Don't look back at the phone. Look forward at the horizon. There is so much waiting for you, joy that isn't conditional, peace that isn't fragile, and a life that is entirely your own. You have survived the worst of it. You have walked through the fire and didn't even smell like smoke. You are a survivor, a thriver, and a warrior. The silence is over. Your life is finally beginning. I'll leave you with one final truth to carry in your pocket. When a narcissist stops calling, they haven't won. They have simply run out of ways to hide from the light that you carry. They chose the darkness, but you are the sun, and it is time for you to rise. Stop waiting for a message from a ghost and start writing the story of your own life. You are the only answer you ever needed.